I first want to say that you can actually get your twin flame to come in to stay with you permanently, but the title of this video is not clickbait. There is a specific reason why I'm saying that you cannot get your twin flame to be with you. And when you understand why I'm explaining it that way, the strange thing is that's when you can get them to actually come be with you. And I'm not fucking around. I'm not trying to screw with you. I'm not playing games. You have to understand this concept about your soul, which is your twin flame. Here's the thing. Everybody knows that you are your twin flame. Everybody knows that it's one soul split into two bodies, right? Everybody knows that. So, the soul is the self. It's who you really are. So, if you really are the soul, then that means that this other person is you. And here's the whole kicker. If you approach this like they are you, they do come to stay because you're saying to the universe, or let me rephrase that, what you're not saying to the universe is that they are separate from you. This is not semantics. This isn't a game. This is specifically how it works. This is energetic. It's consciousness. They are you. They are not separate from you. So when you say, I want that person to come be with me, I want to be with them, what you're saying is there is a them who is separate from you, and I need to get that person to be with me. And that's why they're not. The soul is not externalized, right? The soul is not out there somewhere. The soul is you, the self. And if it is true this person is also the self, then again, the moment you say, I want them to come be with me, you're indicating that you believe that they are separate from you. And so you experience separation. Does that make sense? Now, here's why it works like that. I'm going to explain the technology to you so that you really get this, right? You're a three-part triune being: body, mind, soul. Now, at the core of the three-part triune being is you, the soul, the self. You are the soul, but you have a body and you have a mind. And I'm not just playing around with the words right now. If you get this and you implement energetically what I'm teaching you, your twin flame will come back and stay. Okay, my twin flame is permanently in my life, and I've coached about 4,000 people on how to do the same thing. I'm the world's leading twin flame coach, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just letting you know somebody figured it out. You're welcome. Now, the soul is what you are. The body and the mind is what you have. Think of an astronaut who wears a spacesuit. Does the astronaut say, I am the spacesuit? Of course not. They have a spacesuit. They are the astronaut. It's like that. You are the self, which is the soul, which is your twin flame, which is consciousness. It's that inner awareness. Now, the body and the mind. The body, we're pretty clear what that is. The mind is thought. It is form, right? Again, the soul, which is the self, is consciousness. It is formless. It is technically not definable, but it is the self. It is consciousness. Consciousness is not thought. The mind is thought. The mind is also duality. The soul is not duality. And in ancient spiritualism, they refer to the soul, the self, as non-duality. In physics, they call that a singularity, which happens to be what the Big Bang sprang from. I believe it was Albert Einstein's theory that caused the physics community to invent the concept of the singularity, which is where there's no opposites, there's no positive, negative, there's no matter, antimatter, there's no positive proton, negative electron, there's no relativity, nothing. It's singularity, it's source. And spiritual masters, as soon as they heard that physicists finally figured that out, they were like, well, we've been trying to tell you that shit for thousands of years. You just now figured it out? Right. And science is getting closer and closer to figuring this out. Now, the mind is duality. So the mind is positive, negative. Also, yin, yang, good, bad, light, dark. I like it, I don't like it. Me, something else. Me, you. So it is externalized. Thought is externalized. And the mind is not bad for doing that. Okay, that's its job, actually. And it's really good at it. But the problem comes when people identify with the mind. It's the human condition. Over the course of your life, you develop this personality. They call it ego. I call it the identity entity. And when it gets triggered, it's what you call the pain body. That's what Eckhart Tolle calls it, the pain body. That's a good name for it. It's comprised of retained thought and emotional patterns. And everybody on earth derives their very sense of self from the personality, right? That's what you think of when you think of who am I? You think of your personality, but it's just a bunch of retained thought and emotional patterns. And I'm not saying that's bad, but that's what that is. And the personality has its place, it has its use, but here's the thing. Remember, you have a personality, which is the mind, thought. You are the awareness. You are the consciousness, body, mind, soul. Physical body, thought body, consciousness. Okay? Now, what does this have to do with getting your twin flame to come be with you? If you believe you are the mind, the personality, if you derive your sense of self from the personality like everybody else on earth does, when you see this person who is an other incarnation of your consciousness, the self, and you live through the personality, you live through the mind, the ego, you believe that it is you who thinks. Remember, you're not a thinker, you're the consciousness. But if you believe, which consciousness is belief, the soul is belief. If you believe you are the personality, you believe that it is you who is looking at another person, acting through that programming. What am I going to do about them? What are they doing, thinking, having, being, wanting? Are they with someone? Are they going to come be with me? And that's all it takes. That's what's pushing them away. The mind is duality. And when you live through the personality, you know what they call that in traditional Zen spiritualism? They call it separation consciousness. When you live through the true self, which is the soul, which is consciousness, guess what they call that? Unity consciousness. And you see this all over the twin flame community. Separation, union. Separation, union. Right. Where do you think they got that terminology from? Guys, the twin flame journey is just the true spiritual journey. This is really easy to understand when you understand what you are, a three-part triune being who has a body and a mind and is the consciousness, which is the self. And again, your twin flame is just another incarnation of your soul. And you just have to treat it that way. You get out of the addictive duality patterns of the mind and align with your soul. It's ancient, right? The stuff of Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, the Dalai Lama, Eckhart Tolle, John Kabat-Zinn, Michael Singer. You have to align with consciousness. Stop identifying with the personality ego. Whenever your mind starts going on and on about another person, your twin flame, it thinks that this is another person, and you believe you are the thinker, you can see the problem. You got to take this back to its source. Take yourself back to your source, which is your soul. Source, consciousness, which is them, the person. And energetically over time, you shift out of separation consciousness and into unity consciousness. And guess who shows up? And they won't leave you the hell alone. Guys, my twin flame, my students, go to my website and read testimonials from my students. Their twin flame will not leave them alone. And you don't even have to do anything. You just have to stop believing that you are the personality. That's all it is, guys. It's so simple. It's so simple. You can't be with your twin flame because you are them. You are them. As soon as you say I have to be with them, they're gone. Thanks for watching.